Thank you. All right, I think we need to move on and talk about now the Mandera mass graves that were discovered recently. And of course, we've seen the leaders really coming to the fore and speaking about it. Mandera leaders now want the security forces to come clean on the brutal murder and the subsequent burial of 5 people whose mass grave was discovered by herders in Bambo, Mandera County. The leaders maintain that the deaths have all the hallmarks of extrajudicial killings carried out by the police hit squad. They were speaking after the burial of the 5 in Lafay constituency, Mandera County. I don't know if you can just listen in and then we continue with this conversation in regard to, of course, looking at police reforms, because extrajudicial killings has been in previous reports, of course, coming from the Kenya National Human Rights Commission as well, the Kenya Human Rights Commission and other agencies as well. So is this the truth, or maybe this is a speculation?
I would like to ask the President and those who have been charged with the security of this country to open an inquiry, a commission of inquiry into this matter, because it's a serious matter. It has created a lot of fear in the public everywhere within this constituency and within Mandera County.
When the government are just picking the people and not taking to them to the justice, if the person is terrorist being found, that time you can do to him anything. But then when you see the person just is picked, and the other day you found him being buried in a bush, what do you feel?
People have deserted. The schools is almost closing, and there are no residents in that town. When you fear that the same people who are supposed to protect your life and your property, is unfortunate.
All right, let's hear from Captain Wanderi on this, because also we had the Mandera East MP, that is Abdul Aziz Farah, whose aunt was among the 5 that were killed, condemning, of course, the incident. And he said that the Rapid Deployment Unit and the KDF raided Fino Center and arrested about 11 people, but released those who could pay for their release and decided to murder these 5. This is what he's alleging. Hassan also a candidate for the county senatorial seat, demanded action against those involved. This is a very serious allegation. If maybe they can be verified, coming from KDF and the Rapid Deployment Unit. Captain Wanderi.
Yeah, indeed, Debarl, very sad. Mandera has been in the news for all the wrong reasons, right from 2014. We've had terrorist attacks, we've had ethnic flare-up between the various communities there. We've had flare-ups between the Godia and the Gare. We've had conflict between sometimes Gare people and the Mrule people. And it is not a very good thing when you get reports that indicate that people may have died in the hands of security officers. And the people of Mandera, particularly the leadership, are right. The law is very clear that if a person dies in the hands of police officers or any security agencies, it is incumbent upon the nearest magistrate with jurisdiction to open an inquiry, an inquest, because you've died in the hands of police officers. And if it is true that these people were arrested from Fino town, put in custody, 6 were released and 5 were not, and then were subsequently found buried in shallow graves, then an inquest is paramount. It should happen as a matter of law, because that is, there should be an establishment as to who bears responsibility and culpability for the deaths of citizens. Then we need to ask ourselves whether we are tilting and getting into the narrative of the militia inside Somalia. Because if you are suspecting that local people in Mandera are working in cahoots with the militia, then when you have these reports again of those kind of people being killed, what it does, it simply makes the community have hostility and in fact the community passively starts supporting your enemy, they in fact become complicit. They will not even give you information. And that is the danger we should not fall into. And then finally, you know, the whole idea of somebody engaging in the kind of killings we see, whether they are security organs or even people associated with security, when you, if it were possible if you killed and you didn't want somebody to be traced, to completely hide that body or take it very far. But when somebody does it and buries people in shallow graves, the intention is exactly what the leaders of Mandera are saying, to send a chilling message that we are around and we will do this to you. Because you intend that somebody will eventually find the body. That is the intention of extrajudicial killing. And it is a wrong way. We cannot, knowing the fragility of Mandera County, that would not be the right way to go. And I would press upon the national police authorities in Mandera and the court of competent jurisdiction to open up an inquest and be very open about this, so that we have clear facts established and we know who then takes responsibility, whether it is elements of the Kenya Defense Forces or whether it's elements of the Rapid Deployment Unit. And particularly in Mandera, I'm not sure it would be Rapid Deployment Unit. In Mandera, it would be the Rural Border Patrol Unit inside in Mandera County, because that's a border area. That is a contingent that is trained. It's under the administration to police service, right, with the sole purpose of protecting frontiers. And I think that would be the contingent that is in Mandera. Right, so, but the killings are inexcusable.
All right, let's say from Dr. Apollos.
I actually want to thank and congratulate the KDF who did this. I wish we would have more mass graves of these people. Because if we do that, we shall go the Ethiopian way. You see, in Ethiopia, although we have a very large border with Somalia, Kenya, Ethiopia has a larger border with Somalia, yet we do not find these terrorists going to Ethiopia, because Ethiopia is very, very strong in handling terrorism. I am thinking about the 4 children who died in Lamu with the 4 police officers when these people put IEDs. So if I would get the people who put those, I would murder them and even not bury them, so that these other people can learn the medicine. These Mandela people have been very uncooperative. They see terrorists, they live with them, that they don't say anything. Now they are sympathizing with the 5 dead, the 5 buried. They are not sympathizing with the people who are killed in a quarry. They do not talk about the people who die in buses in Mandera. So if the KDF found these people and found that they are the guilty ones, don't even bury them, throw them to whatever. And that is the justice that I would like seeing for us to eradicate terrorism in Mandela.
So without going through the proper channel of, you know...
Yes, because the medicine for these people is just kill them the way they kill us. Then you take them to a judge, then he is given bail, then just kill. Let them go.
Maybe I should refer you to what Dr. Kaikai Kalubusia is saying. He's your colleague, eh? Listen to what he's saying. He's saying, Dr. Apollo is my colleague in the university here at Egerton. He should manage his anger. Are you angry?
I'll do that, no problem.
Okay, let's hear from Captain. We'll come to you, Professor. Captain Werunga.
Yeah, I think this is not the first time we are hearing these issues of bodies in Mandera. Yes, we know it's not Mandera alone. I know those of us who have worked in this area of terrorism. Sometimes it's very difficult when you are dealing with issues of terrorism within a homogeneous community. And yes, while we might say some are supportive of what those fellows are doing, I don't think 2 wrongs can make a right. And I think a country that believes in the rule of law, a country that believes we have a justice system that we should believe in, we should allow the system to flow. I know many will say, what is this guy talking about? And yet they keep on killing us. They don't do ABCD. Any civilized nation must follow the rule of law. we know can be painful when our soldiers are dying in Somalia. We know it is painful when our sisters and friends are losing their parents. But I think Debarl, the rule of law must prevail. We know it is very difficult, but I've never and I will never support where two wrongs are meant to justify what has been done. The other thing I want to ask is, we've always told our security systems and agents that even when you study what America has done on countering terrorism, when you study what other countries have done, they go two-pronged. They go with a stick and they go with a carrot. And if you can't use both, you never win. Because when you continue killing, then you're embedding anger and hatred in those who remain. So you should be seen to be very tough, but also be extending an olive branch, so that those who are probably being forced to be part of the system, but are not willing quietly, can move on your side, and you continue dealing with those who are hard to crack. So I think we need to relook at how we are dealing with issues of terrorism in this country. We've spoken about it for a long time, but I can assure you, I've done comparative studies and analysis. The stick never wins. You must combine other things: social, economic, educational, cultural, and the stick. Then you can be able to win some souls.
Okay, very briefly, let's hear from Professor Noah Midamba, because now these bodies have been buried right now, as we know, and we had also from the police spokesperson, he was here last night saying that, they were denied the bodies so that they can actually go for post-mortem. If you're talking about inquiry, into the incident itself, are we looking at exhuming these bodies for them to really carry out proper investigation?
Debarl, if you listen to both Apollo and Captain Werunga, they're both expressing frustration in some way, and really Captain Werunga is providing prescription for what really need to happen here. I've been advocating for a long time about beefing up our borders, redeploying our KDF to make sure that nobody penetrate coming in through our border the way the Israelis have done it so successfully, and Jordanian. And until we reach that point, we're going to have bad people, wrong people, crisscrossing, pretending to be Kenya citizens when they are not. These people don't deserve any justice at all. They need to be eliminated on the spot.
As Dr. Apollo is saying.
As Dr. Apollo is saying.
Okay.
But not Kenya citizen. Kenya citizen require due process of law. Kenya citizen we cannot accept any extrajudicial killing. The police have a responsibility to protect all of us, both good ones and bad ones. Bad ones need to go through the court, not be subject to extrajudicial killing. So you have a very tough judgment here, and it's not a quick fix. It's not an easy thing for anybody to stand and make a fair judgment about this situation.
All right, Dr. Mustapha, you want to say something very briefly?
I just want to echo what Professor Midamba, Captains Wanderi and Werunga have said about the discovery of the shallow graves in Mandera. It's very important that Kenyan citizens are subjected or go through the due process of the law. It's very important that justice is seen to be done. It's very important that security agencies are seen to actually be following the law. And what happens is that when such kind of mass graves are discovered, anybody could have done that, including groups like Al-Shabaab. But when such bodies are found, and when any Kenyan is found to have died in unexplained circumstances, then it is the duty of the state to find out what actually happened, and therefore an opening of some kind of an inquest to establish what actually happened is something that is going to be very important. Without that, then the rumors and perceptions that are going to be there, that are going to be negative, hampers the fight on the war on terror.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we need to hear what you have to say. Of course, there are a rush of tweets that we can see all streaming in, and Usha, she's standing by to give us a feel and flavor of that. Usha?
Right, so I have been sampling some of your feedback. Remember how to get your comment through in case you want to speak to the panelists or ask questions. AM Live NTV, that is how you get us. That is on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. So head on right there and leave us a comment, and I would be happy to sample some of your feedback. So we have an ad seems to have popped up. We have Dickens, who says ethnicity and corruption are two cancerous growths in Kenya that we can give a permanent antidote by strengthening our institutions. We also have Atieno, who says the report is causing unnecessary tension. Security forces should deal with this. Not fair to tell Kenyans that they are in hotspots. We have Samuel, who says the leaders who are fighting for power don't even get involved in election violence. It is the people who are putting them in power. We also have Bena, who says the word hotspots is coined by fearmongers hell-bent on conducting sham elections, already preaching about Nusumkate. We have Atieno, who says, why scare Kenyans? Solution to post-poll violence is obvious. If we have a free, fair and credible election, peace will be automatic. We have Dickens, who says, Mustafa talks like a Kenyan pastor who believes in hope and does not believe in taking precautions from past experiences. I don't know, Mustafa, now that you have been singled out, what do you think? Do you think?
I believe in hope. I am so hopeful. I am so hopeful, Usha, that this election is going to be so peaceful. The problem will be after the elections.
So no bearing on what has happened in the past.
Precisely.
That's a beautiful sentiment. We also have Atis, who says, why scare Kenyans? Sorry, I think I already read this one. We have Omar, who says, if our presidential candidates can't be mature and wise enough to rise up and take Kenya beyond ethnicity, we should reject them. We also have Adongo, who says, is elections a monster that the rest of the world has never seen before, and Kenya happens to be its experimental ground? We have John Githanga, who says NCIC has become a busybody instead of an integration entity. It is now hard to distinguish the role of Ole Kaparo and Nkaiseris. We have George, who says the so-called hotspots are places where residents wouldn't stomach rigged elections because of what in their lives. We also have Thomas, who says it's very difficult to differentiate between IEBC, NCIC and Jubilee Party. They speak and act the same. We want credible polls. And finally, we have Otene, who says if the elections will not be transparent and credible, there will be no peace, and that is the truth. So I think a lot of people seem to think that the solution would just be peaceful and credible elections. I don't know, Captain Wanderi, do you think that would be enough on its own, just credible elections? Would that be enough?
Not necessarily, because we also have the other flip side of it. Even if the elections were credible and peaceful, suppose those who lose reject them, and not just at the national level, at the presidential level,
right.
Even at the level of the county. For example, we have seen in areas where governors, there is very tight competition between governors of different ethnic groups in counties. We have seen MCAs, and there has been violence even at that lower level. Suppose the candidates reject them. So after peaceful and credible elections, we also need a commitment and adherence to the electoral code of conduct, that the candidates will accept the outcome if it is unfavorable to them, and any contest should be taken to the court, not the court of public opinion.
All right, so I think that is part of the ingredients of a peaceful election. So first, we actually have to have credible elections, and also we need to have leaders who accept if they do lose fairly. So that is all the feedback that we could give at this time. But remember, the conversation goes on AM Live and TV. That is how you can get us back to you, Debarl.
Many thanks indeed, Ushin. Of course, as you hear also, another one trickled in, and we had Alban Lex saying, thanks. The panel is well conversant and composed with the current issues. Kudos. And also we had, there's one also, I won't read all of them. He says, your show is Jubilee leaning. Yesterday, you hosted a show with guests from Independence and Jubilee. NASA not represented. I assure you,
I take exception.
Jack Twenga, that yes, this is noted. And of course, you need to know also, yesterday we invited guests from NASA, but last minute also they had to pull out because of other issues as well. So, varied issues from there. Also, we have Dickens Nyamongo saying the EU did a good job by playing a whistleblower role in anticipation of expected obvious that we must appreciate and act on. Also, we have Honorable Kip Korir. I don't believe in election violence. It's thuggery, election fairness, an excuse. Agents are always keen. Also, we have Amakanji Thomas. It's very difficult. I think this one we should read. Thank you very much for your rush of tweets. We'll continue with this discussion.